What's up? What's up? What's up? It's John here from JJSC Tech. Let me hit up that other camera. Boom. Yeah, so today, happy Sunday, by the way. I hope your family is doing well. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's kind of late. I came back kind of late from a client that I was at. So I'm streaming a little late, but hey, the show must go on. So today is a special topic, a topic that I realized probably like 2 years ago, came up on my radar. And after some testing and real world experiences, I'm kind of leaning towards one side of the spectrum. So what are we talking about today is cine lens versus photo lens. Well, we're going to see the difference between them, and you'll see why I'm leaning towards one side of the spectrum when it comes to photo versus cine. I'm not going to tell you which one I use or which one I like as yet, but we're going to go through some differences. So the first difference between the cine and the photo lens is that the cine lens is a lot heavier. So if I was to pull this up right here, this is one of my cine lenses. This is a Sigma 50 millimeter T 1.5. So great lens, great lens. It's super heavy. And the photo lens that I have I have multiple photo lenses, but the photo lens that I'll be displaying today is this right here. This is the Canon, not a Sony, but Canon. This is the 100 millimeter RF 1.5. Yeah, good lens, pretty good lens. So we're going to be going through some differences. Like the first difference is the cinema lens is way heavier, like so much heavier than the photo lens, because if you're taking a whole lot of pictures, you don't want a big old heavy lens chugging around on your camera. So that's a first difference. But is it only that? Because cinema lenses can be sometimes 10 times the price of a photo lens. 10 times. Let that sink in. So this lens, this 100 millimeter right here, this was probably like $1,200. This 50 millimeter right here, this joint right here, this was $3,500. And this lens is on like the mid spectrum of lenses. Now there are 50 millimeter lenses that you can probably get for like 14,000, but let's get into why these lenses are so expensive. So the first thing, so let's talk about aperture rings. So what is the aperture ring? So the aperture ring is this thing right here on the lens. Man, I need to figure out some way to see. Yeah, this thing right here. So this controls how much light get into the lens. So both photo and cinema glass have aperture rings, but they're pretty different. They're a lot different actually. So the aperture ring is down here. This is what I'm turning. They're a lot different. As you see, there is a T, if I can get it in focus. Yeah, there's a T right there on the cinema lens. And photo lenses are usually f-stop. So what's the difference between the T-stop and the f-stop? So the T-stop of the photo lens is usually is controlled electronically by the camera, and it can only be incrementally changed by the camera. And usually they are changed by a third of a stop. So they jump from like 3.5 to f4, 3.5 to f4, and they go incrementally like that on the photo lenses. So the cinema lenses, they are much smoother. So they don't jump incrementally. They glide. See that? So you can get the focus in there. Am I even focused? I'm here talking about focus and I'm not even sure if I'm focused. So you can just glide it right here. And you see one of the big differences, you can control this manually. You don't need a camera to control the aperture of a cine lens. Are you sold yet? Are you a believer? Huh? Are you ready to spend 10 times the amount on a cine glass because of that one feature? No, okay, of course not. There's way more. So also the f stop on a photo lens is actually clicked. What do I mean clicked? It jumps. f4.5. That's f4 to f4.5, f3.5, so on and so on. So they just jump. So that's what you call a click. A click motion, a clicking motion, because it doesn't go smoothly. This is declicked. So you can have some photo lenses declick and they can be kind of smooth as well, going from aperture as well as focusing as well. But they still have the same feature. They aren't as smooth and you can't get them as precise as a cine lens. Also, T-stop. So T-stop is what a cine lens use versus f-stop. Yes, it's an aperture ring as well, the same as a photo lens, but T-stop is the measurement of how much light reaches the sensor. F-stop is how much light goes into the lens, and T-stop is how much light goes to the sensor. Why is that important? The issue can be all f4s aren't the same on each lens. Oh, my camera wanted to, the lens is too heavy. So it just wanted to, bow out. Let me lock that in place. Good thing I caught that. I mean, it's a pretty good tripod, so it wouldn't have fell. All right, so what was I talking about? Yeah, so all f-stops aren't the same. So you might have a f4 on a Canon and an f4 on a Sigma photo lens and an f4 on a Sony G Master, and your exposure might be completely different. We don't even have to go that extreme. We can go with the same brand. Let's do Sony. Sony G Master lenses are pretty good. They are really sharp and really fast. But if you do like the f2 on a 85 millimeter and a f2 on a 50 millimeter and a 35 millimeter, the exposure might be a little different, ever so slightly different. T-stop is completely different than that. A T1.5 is a T1.5 across all cine glass. You need to have that consistency, especially when you're filming, because if your exposure is off just a bit, it can mess up the shot and you're going from shot to shot. And yeah, that can be pretty distracting. With pictures, you can just fix that, Everyone just looks at one still, one at a time. So it's not really a big deal. But when it comes to cinema glass, that's a massive deal. So even if you go between different brands, if you use an Arri Ultra Prime or a Cooke lens, Sigma, Tokina Vista Prime, a T1.5 is a T1.5. So that's the difference. Let's go focus pulling now. This is one of the reasons why I leaned one. I leaned over to one side of the spectrum when it came to, you know, these lenses. Focus pulling. Focus pulling is very, very important when it comes to videography, cinematography, anything to do with video. Now, focus pulling on a photo lens is pretty, how can I explain it? It's hard to rack focus smoothly on a photo glass. The reason, I mean, it's not that the focus ring is jittery or anything like that, but again, that can vary based on manufacturer. As you see, when I'm turning this keeps turning, like it never stops. So it's hard to realize when you're at infinity focus versus the closest focal distance. You just gotta guess and figure it out. But when it comes to the cine glass, probably you can hear this. Hear that? It actually stops at infinity, and it stops at the closest focal range. So if you're racking focus, which I'm not doing right now, so if you're racking focus on one of these lenses, you have a pretty good idea when the closest focal range is all the way to the infinity focus. So that's one of the difference between focus. And as you see, there's like little ridges. There's a little ridges on the cine glass. These are called teeth. And the reason cine glass have these teeth are for focus pulling apparatus. Something like this This is a focus motor. Let me go to the other one. Something like this. This is a focus motor. And this is the Tilta Nucleus M. This is just one of them. And you can have you can put this on 15 millimeter rods and attach it onto the teeth like that. And when you wirelessly pull focus, it will change the gears with it. So that's really good because you can remotely, well, not remotely, you can actually wirelessly pull focus, because that's where you have first AC and second AC, mostly a first AC. They will have their own screen somewhere off, while the person who is maneuvering the camera just concentrates on the motion and getting the shots, and someone else sits down with a monitor and pulls your focus and adjusts your focus. It's great for that. Photo lens, you can't do that. You can't do that at all. You can actually buy some rubber grips that goes over the focus wheel, and you can pull focus like that, but they don't work that well all the time. And like I said, this spins all the time, so you don't really know what's infinity and what's the closest focal range. So that's a downfall about this. Yeah. So another thing is the front diameter. Now this is a big deal. The front diameter is this right here, the front of the lens. how wide the front of the lens is. As you see, now this part right here, this varies. Okay, focus, sir. Focus, sir. You're talking about focusing? Focus. Now this varies from photo lens to photo lens, and it is very, very annoying. It's really annoying when you have to use matte boxes. And what is a matte box? This is a matte box. Now, this matte box, you might have seen a couple of these. There's a couple of people on Instagram. I don't know, it's not for looking cool. It actually serves an actual purpose. It can actually help you with contrast. Like if you're filming like darker skin tones, if you have too much light inside of the lens, their skin tones can look pretty washed out. This can help with that because it will help to control how much light is coming in to the lens. That's one. The other thing is you can put ND glass inside of these. Oh, wow. I'm in frame. You can put ND glass inside of these matte boxes. So you don't have to worry about screwing on an ND ring on top of, in front of your photo lens. You can just put a matte box on and just swap them out bit by bit like these. And you can stack them as well. The issue is, since the front diameter of photo lens varies from lens to lens so often, you're gonna have to get something that's called a step-up ring. Now, a step-up ring is what you screw on to a photo lens. That way it can fit inside of the matte box. The problem is if you have a ton of photo lenses, you need so many different step-up ring adapters, and it can get pretty annoying. Very annoying, screwing on, unscrewing, screwing on, unscrewing. So if you don't have a bunch of these, your life is going to be miserable. So with the cine glass, let me be careful. The majority of them, I mean, they might be like specialty cine glass, but for the most part, all cine glass has a front diameter of 114 millimeters. If I'm not 114 millimeters. Yeah, 114 millimeters. So they fit right inside of the matte box. So if you're switching a whole bunch of cine glass, even different manufacturers, if you're switching like between Sigma, Canon, Arri, you just have to switch out the cine glass and put that right back in there, slap on the matte box, and it's gonna fit. You don't gotta worry about no step-up glass, no anything like that. It's good for that. It's great for that. It helps speeds up the process when you're filming and you have to switch lens. Yeah, that's it. Now, is that all there is? Okay, so I've spoken about what? The focus ring, the teeth, T-stop. Well, T-stop is a big deal. How much light gets to the sensor versus how much light gets into the lens. That's a big deal because T1.5 across the board, no matter what manufacturer you're dealing with, T1.5 is going to be T1.5. That's good. It's heavier. The front diameter is mostly 114 millimeters. Does that justify 3 times the price of a photo lens? I would say it depends. It depends because it's a totality of things that makes this much more expensive than a photo glass. Another thing, as you see, there are markings on the side of the lens. So T1.5, T2, T2.8, So this gives the person who's handling the lens a good idea of how to set the other lens when they're swapping out lenses. So say I was shooting something and the exposure is perfect at T4. He doesn't have to get a new lens and put it on and try to figure out which exposure matches this lens. T4 is a T4 on the other lens, so that's fine. And as well, focus distance right here. So if I'm doing something like racking focus on like someone's face and say, this is upside down. I'm sorry, folks. And say, yeah, right here. Say 7 feet is the perfect focal distance. And you see, it lines up right there perfectly at 7 feet. All the AC has to do is look at the lens and see, okay, 7 feet, T4, set the other lens, and we're good to go. We are completely good to go. I mean, cine lens. Set the other cine lens, and we are good to go. With the photo lens, boy, I tell you, the amount of trouble that I had with photo lenses, in in a shoot, yeah, I'm happy I got a couple of cine lens in my arsenal. Okay. Now, probably one of the most important things that people look for when it comes to cine lens, the image. The image quality of cine glass is superior to photo glass. Get your most expensive photo glass, which is probably, hold on one. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Noisy neighbors. So take your most expensive cine glass. Let's say something like a G Master. A G Master. What's an expensive G Master lens? All of them? The 135 maybe? Yeah, let's do a 135. 135 is great. It looks good, it's sharp. Now, if you try to match a G Master 135 with a 50 millimeter G Master 135, the colors and everything isn't going to be 100% accurate. For all the Sony guys that watch this video, correct me if I'm wrong. That's one of the faults of a photo lens. But the thing is, with photo lenses, people look at one image at a time. So you can fix, match, and etc. and put out the end product. Not an issue. When it comes to cinema, when you're switching from frame to frame, everything has to match. And that's the thing. Now, if you buy a set of lenses from Sigma, Tokina, Airy, Cook, whoever, all the lenses are going to match. Highlight roll off, contrast, color, flares, everything is going to match. So that's one of the key things of cine glass as well. Also, let's look at a video. Now, this video I found pretty accurate. Nope. This one right here. So, this person is using an FX3. And they're using Sony G Master lenses versus Tokina Vista Prime. I mean, Tokina Vistas are like OD. I don't know how well this translates online, but you should be able to see the difference. Now, this is a Sony G Master 24 millimeter. Look at the bokeh, the blurs, and etc. And he's gonna get to like distortion. Now he's moving the camera from left to right to see if there's any warping of the face, because with some wide angle lenses, you get like distortion on the edges. A lot of cinema glass does that. And these are the flares. These are how the flares look. Now, a flare is when you shine light into a camera. They produce like these orbs. They're much different from lens to lens. So this is pretty good. This is pretty good on a 24 millimeter. Okay. And here we go. YouTube Premium. And this is the Tokina Vista Prime. All right. Can you tell a difference? Can you tell the difference? I mean, I can. The colors, like her skin tones, are pretty different. Like this looks more natural. Okay, cool. Okay, look at her shirt. Pink, mustard, maroon. Let's go back to, oh boy. I'm sorry, I'm using a widget. Okay. Look at the colors of the shirt. Pink, yellowish, burgundy. And look at the Tokina. It's a different color. It's different color. Same camera. Same camera. The lens produces different results. Look at her skin tones. Look at her hair. Her hair is more... Well, just look at brown. Look at the brown of her hair. And look at the Canon. Canon. The Sony. It's not as contrasty. Now, Sonys are known to be completely contrasty. A little magenta as well. I'm not saying that this image looks bad, but this image compared to the Tokina is different. Let me see if I can do side by side. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up on YouTube and let me do a side by side, because this is not helping. YouTube. Okay, let me type. Let me type. What is that? The Sony G Master versus Tokina Vista. Hopefully I get the same video. There we go. Same as that video. All right, so let's do this. And let's copy the link and put it in another tab so we can compare and contrast. All right, so let me go to the frame. Of the Tokina with the shirt. All right, and let me go to the frame that has the Sony. All right, focus, 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 boom. I must say that Sony, you can always watch this video on your own because it won't translate that well online. All right, boom, boom. Yeah, oh yeah. All right, so let me switch this right now. Let me go to... All right, let me make this bigger. All right, boom. So this is a Sony G Master. That's the Tokina. Same camera, different lens. Same camera, different lens. Now you should be able to see the difference. And they're both 24 millimeter, the same distance. And they're both full frame lenses. Isn't that weird? Because it looks like the Tokina, it's a 25. It's a 25. I'm bugging. All right, so let's probably get the same lens. Because I know somebody in the comments is like, they're not even the same. They're not even the same. You're not comparing them properly. All right, 35. Because everybody has a 35. 35 is kind of clutch. Let's get her in frame and in focus. Wow, yeah, that's it. That's focused. And let's go to the Tokina 25. $35, my bad. Boom. All right, wait till she went out of focus. Work with me. Boom. Oh, I'm too slow. All right. This guy racks focus super quick. Boom. Okay, cool. That's good enough. All right, so this is the Tokina frame. This is the Sony photo lens. It is so different. Like, it's like they're different cameras. The contrast is different. Look at the highlights. Like, look how the light reacts to her face. As you see, it's more washed out. It's the same lighting setup. The same lighting setup. But it reacts differently because of the glass. Now, and look at the wall. Look at the color on the wall behind her, like where the globe is. So that's the Sony. And this is the Vista, the Tokina Vista. Different color. Her skin tones are a little warmer. Also, look at the accent light. Like, look at her hair. Because, you know, she got a little comb over to the, what is that? The right side? The right side of the screen? Wherever the hair is coming over her shoulder. Look at how the light in front of her is reacting. It looks like a hair light, but this is the Sony. This is Tokina. See that? They react super different. It's like the Sony glass can't pick up that information that much. So the image looks a little more flat. But with the Tokina, there's more depth, there's more dimension. It has a much better highlight roll off. It makes it look like he's using two different lighting setups with these lenses. But that's the importance of glass. I mean, there might be a whole lot of people fighting because the new Sony came out. Oh, the new Sony, I gotta get the new Sony. It can shoot. Let me go back. Yeah, it can shoot 8K. It has stupid autofocus. It can do all of these things. It can probably pay your rent and pay your mortgage and take you out to dinner. But, you know, these things, the bodies of the cameras change constantly and they devalue constantly. If you learn anything from this, invest in good glass, because good glass will take you a long way. A good lens will probably last you a lifetime, because the EF version of this Canon 100mm came out like probably more than 10 years ago at like maybe $1,300, and right now it costs $1,100. you don't want to talk about a camera that came out 10 years ago, how much it costs now. Like they depreciate like crazy, but good glass will make an old camera look special. Like, oh, that's not all about the glass though. The good lighting, good composition, but get good glass. Good glass over a good camera. Yes, a good camera is good. Like a Sony Venice, Arri Alexa, and there are a plethora of other Canons and different types of Sonys and etc. But once you have good glass on top of that camera, the image is going to be spectacular. Look here. These are FX 3s, both of them. But the images look different. So yeah, that's the other thing about cine glass. The image quality is 90% of the time, unless you have like a really cheap cine glass, that's not really that good. It's chromatic aberration. They don't put as much into it because of budgeting purposes. The image will be superior than your most expensive photo glass. Yeah, that's about it. That's it. So if you haven't noticed by now, I am leaning more towards cine glass because of all of those benefits. Also, the image quality looks phenomenal. Another thing though, if you're taking pictures, don't put a photo glass on your camera to try to take pictures, because these things are completely manual, and they're manual for you so you can fine tune and adjust the specific setting that you're going for, and as well as racking focus is much more smoother. Like if you're streaming with cine glass and you're trying to rack focus from one subject to another, photo glass doesn't come close to that. Cine glass all the time. But if you want autofocus, there's some cine glass that can do autofocus, but the best autofocus lenses are photo lenses because they're lighter and they have electronics built in, so you can focus on a particular subject. So the camera can do all the work and focus the lens on a particular subject. There is no facial tracking with a cine glass. So that's a con if you depend on that. But if you don't mind manual, and if you work with a team with productions, that's another thing. A one-man band, like if you're doing run and gun, a photo lens will do well because of autofocus and etc. But if you have a team of people working on a particular project, 9 times out of 10, having a team of people working on a particular project is going to look better than a one-man band. The reason being that you have specialists focus on specific areas. You got focus pullers that all their job is focus pulling. Camera operators, all they're doing is maneuvering the camera, positioning the camera, getting the right shots, getting the right movements, getting the right composition. You have lighting people, which their job is only lighting. Sound people, and their only job is to get sound. Like if you get specialists that specialize in a certain area that come together, it's a beautiful thing. It's like making a cake. You get the right ingredients, the right amount, and they all come together to make the perfect cake. One-man band, you're doing everything. So that's not saying that your cake is going to come out. It won't come out tasting well, but it's not going to beat the specialists coming together for that. And who knows, your budget might not allow you to get a team of people. So it really depends. It really depends on the situation, and it really depends on the gig and the project that you're using. I personally like cine glass, and I don't like run and gun. I don't like working with myself. I like bringing a team. I don't care if it's a skeleton crew. I like working with people. because I see the best results working with a team. So that's why I go with cine lenses and all the other stuff that I go with. Yeah. But don't want to ramble too much. That's basically it. Cine lens versus photo lens. Hopefully you learned something. If I wasn't clear on something, put a comment in the comment section and make sure you like and subscribe. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.